What's up? Today I'm going to show you guys how to warp your songs, because I remember this is a huge pain in the ass for me when I first started, and it's super duper easy to do. And it's like I just found something out recently, like today, while I was warping some other shit that really would have made my life easier like fucking 2 years ago. Yeah, so I'll show you. It's really easy. I'll show you how to do this really quickly today. Some people don't like understand how to explain this really like well on the internet, but because it's kind of a, I guess it's kind of a complex process. But okay, so here's what I usually do. So usually if I have my radio show, I do it for, I haven't been doing live shows lately. Was doing them last summer a bunch, and then so before I was doing live shows, I had like everything like super ridiculous. I went back and like really organized the shit out of everything. So since 2012 basically, so I guess that's 2 years ago, I've been organizing the shit out of everything, and yeah, keeping like everything super duper organized and warping everything. So when I do live shows, I can just drag it in here. I should start doing them again, but like it's so time consuming to practice for them and shit. But okay, so here's what I usually do. So I have a little folder here called Ableton Music, and then I put I have my warped songs. These are the ones that are already warped, and then I have a little folder here that says Music to Warp. So I'm actually gonna put these into the warped songs because they're already warped. Warped songs, where are we at? Oh yeah, here, warped songs. So I'm just gonna put all these in here because they're already warped. So usually so whatever music I have, I'll go through my iTunes library, and then I will put I'll grab all the songs that I have, and I'll like drag it into here or some shit, and then it'll pop up it'll pop, like a list of them will pop up. Then what I usually do, this is my process, you don't have to do this shit if you don't want to. This is just the best way to keep everything organized. Then I'll like put this thing, I'll open up mixing key and I'll put it in mixing key, and I'll put it whatever, like, what is it in here? It's 4A. So I'll rename it 4A, and then the name of the song, the guy who did it, which is Neon Jungle. Probably wouldn't do it all caps if I was doing it regularly. So yeah, Neon Jungle, Braveheart, then that's the name of the song. Once that's done, and it is tedious and time consuming to do this, but I'm fucking kind of anal about that shit. Then I drag this thing into my warping template. So what I have here, I'll put this up for download if you guys want it. I drag it into the section that says tracks. Bam, it'll load up in there. All you got to do from there, I have 5 different areas, because this is how I organize it: electro, house, Moombahton, trub. Because like whatever, like you should kind of have it around the same free BPM range that you want to start in. So this one's electro, yeah. So it has like 128 down here. So then I'll change this to like 128, just to be around the same size. Then bring this over here, Neon Jungle. So first thing you do, step 1, go to zoom into the beginning of this motherfucker here. Double click on it, right click, go start warp 1.1 here, right click again, go warp from here straight, drag this here to the start of the loop, so it's the start of the bar, or go over here and press 1 again and then enter. That'll reset it to like 1. Then go length 8 and start it from there. Then what you're going to do is change this, make sure this, because this is the thing I just found out today. If you change this to back to 128, things will run a lot more smoothly. Otherwise, you're gonna have to be warping a whole bunch of bullshit you don't need to be warping. So go 128 and start. Then just double check, press that 8 again, done there. Then click up there, and then just press up. Keep pressing up. Everything should be lined up. What you're gonna see sometimes is shit will be like it'll be off a little bit. So if this was, for example, I do this 120.02. It was like that, and we go back to number 1. Let me zoom in again. So now it's 128.01. This is why it's important to change this last one. Oh shit! This is the last one over here. Because if you go here, see how everything is going to be off a little bit? So to actually warp it, you have to zoom in a little bit, click right in front, and drag it to the next point. Bam, 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 bam. They're all going to go off a little bit. So you move over and then drag it back to the next point. Went over and then drag it back to the next point. So that's how I was doing it for like the longest time. But if you just change that to 128, you can avoid a lot of those problems. Another thing you're gonna have to get used to. It's frustrating at first. You just got to get used to it, and it'll come with time. Like, I promise you, it'll come with time. Because at first, when you're looking at this shit and you're like, what the fuck are all these like waveforms? I don't understand anything. Now you can definitely tell exactly, like, this is the attack of one, and this is decay of like a kick drum. You can tell like this is like all the different transients. You just kind of know this from like just from doing it a whole bunch. You want to get good at this, is warp fucking 100 tracks and you'll figure that shit out real fast. Like, this is like a just like a different sound than this, obviously. But that's all you gotta do. And then at the end of this, so once everything's lined up and everything ready to go, you press save, and then it's usually, and then it'll be saved. Then I'll drag it into like a folder on here. That's the easiest way to do that shit. Super simple. If you have any questions, I'll like write them down on, I'll write a like little note down on like the things to do. All you gotta do is start at the beginning, right click, start one from 1.1.1. From there, then right click that green part again, click warp from here straight, that's the one that I always use, and then cycle, make sure you change this, then cycle through the whole thing, because if one of them's off, like this one's a little bit off, after just zooming in, you want to drag that back over, and just figure out which one, make sure they're on, because if you're mixing or something, and then on their offbeat, it'll mess up the whole mix of the song, you're DJing with this, or if you're warping a song for a track, then it'll be really hard to see the different changes in the like if you're trying to line something up with a specific part, it won't work. Also, warping vocals is a whole different thing. I'm not even gonna get into that because I don't even really understand it. I have to do it the old school way of doing like little section by little section. But try this way out, and yeah, I hope this helps. Peace.